Shein turned the fashion world upside down, ultra fast, ultra cheap, and ultra trendy. But now the very system that allowed Shein to sell a $6 top and ship it across the globe in just days is breaking down. Tariffs are soaring, trade exemptions are disappearing, and the hidden costs of Shein's explosive growth are finally coming due. Shein built its empire on the back of global trade loopholes, but as those loopholes close, can it adapt quickly enough to survive? Shein isn't just another fast fashion retailer, it's the industry's most aggressive disruptor yet. In just over a decade, it transformed from a small Chinese wedding dress reseller into a multi-billion-dollar global phenomenon, surpassing industry giants like Zara and even eclipsing Amazon in app downloads at its peak. Unlike traditional fast fashion brands, Shein's success wasn't founded on storefronts or seasonal collections. Shein's empire was built on a different blueprint: lightning-fast trend detection, rapid online product testing, and manufacturing only what will sell. The whole system is enabled by a hyper-efficient supply chain, direct-to-consumer shipping from China, and critically favorable trade conditions that let them operate at breakneck speeds for rock-bottom costs. For years, Shein's growth has seemed unstoppable. But now the ground beneath Shein's feet is shifting. The very trade policies that fueled its ascent are being dismantled. Key pieces like the de minimis rule that allowed millions of packages to flood into the US duty-free have been eliminated. On top of that, new steep tariffs are targeting goods exactly like Shein's. For years, Shein masterfully navigated and arguably exploited a global trade system that allowed these countless small packages to slip under the regulatory radar. That era is decisively over. So how did Shein conquer the world of fast fashion? And more importantly, as the rules of global trade are being rewritten, what happens now? Can Shein's revolutionary model adapt to these seismic shifts, or will the very strategies that powered its incredible rise become its fatal flaw? Today, we'll discuss Shein, how it reshaped fast fashion, and how shifts in global trade might just reshape Shein. Before Shein, fast fashion emerged in the late 1990s and early 2000s as retailers like Zara, H&M, and Uniqlo revolutionized the fashion industry. They dramatically shortened the time between design and product availability, turning new trends into store-ready items in weeks instead of months. This approach prioritized speed, affordability, and responsiveness, fundamentally changing consumer behavior. Their model relied heavily on just-in-time logistics, frequent inventory updates, and a network of physical stores. The pace accelerated further with the growth of e-commerce and social media in the 2010s. Digital-first brands like Boohoo and Fashion Nova capitalized on lower overhead and direct-to-consumer strategies, enabling even faster production cycles and a wider distribution. They pushed the existing fast fashion model towards greater speed and responsiveness at scale. Fast fashion's latest evolution is real-time retail. This approach marks a critical shift from forecasting future trends to immediately reacting to current consumer behavior. Utilizing real-time data from search trends, social media, and purchasing activity, companies can rapidly design, test, and scale products based on customer feedback. While Shein didn't necessarily invent real-time retail, it uniquely perfected and scaled the model on a global stage. By integrating sophisticated algorithms with agile manufacturing practices, Shein created an ultra-responsive business model that consistently delivers cheap, trendy clothes faster than the industry has ever seen. But Shein's origins were humble. It began in 2008 in Nanjing, China, where founder Chris Xu, an SEO specialist, launched a company named ZZKO, initially focusing on reselling wholesale wedding dresses online. By 2012, Xu shifted from reselling to a more integrated approach, rebranding as She Inside and expanding into women's fashion more broadly. The company worked quickly to build more direct relationships with manufacturers in southern China, significantly enhancing production speeds and control. By 2015, the company rebranded again as Shein, optimizing for international audiences. A key aspect to Shein's strategy is its deliberate orientation as a Chinese e-commerce firm that does not primarily serve the Chinese domestic market. Unlike local giants such as Alibaba, Shein focused its formidable capabilities outward, aligning with broader governmental aims to be the quote-unquote world's factory, driving economic growth through global exports. This international focus fueled explosive growth between 2016 and 2019, with Shein heavily leveraging digital and social media marketing to capture the attention of young consumers worldwide. The global shift to online shopping during the COVID-19 pandemic provided a further dramatic tailwind. By 2021, Shein's app had become one of the most downloaded shopping platforms globally, a testament to its rapidly expanding Western reach. In a strategic move to navigate the complex geopolitical landscape and growing scrutiny of Chinese tech firms, Shein relocated its global headquarters to Singapore in 2022. Despite this, the core of its vast logistics and production network remains anchored in mainland China. By 2023, Shein was operating in over 150 countries, with reported valuations reaching 60 to 66 billion. So how did Shein achieve such speed and scale, effectively rewriting the rules of fast fashion? On the surface, its model seems straightforward. Partner with a vast network of Chinese suppliers to produce cheap clothing, sell it online, and ship orders directly to consumers worldwide. Its profitability stems from vertical integration, economies of scale, and understanding the demands of its customer base. But that's just scratching the surface. Beneath this lies a sophisticated, multi-layered architecture that built Shein's dominance. Shein's rise to a global retail powerhouse is first and foremost a story of digital mastery. Unlike many competitors that balance physical stores with online sales, Shein operates almost exclusively through its website and mobile app. This digital-only approach is designed to resonate with its core Gen Z audience, digital natives who predominantly shop online and discover trends through social media. At the heart of this strategy is Shein's pervasive presence on social media platforms like TikTok and Instagram. The company cultivates brand awareness not just through large-scale campaigns, but through a vast network of influencer partnerships ranging from major celebrities to online personalities. Micro-influencers who often bring highly engaged, niche followings and a sense of authenticity to their recommendations have proven particularly effective in building credibility and driving customer conversions. User-generated content, UGC, is another cornerstone. Shein actively encourages customers to share their quote-unquote haul videos and shopping experiences on TikTok and YouTube. This creates a powerful stream of social proof, often more compelling to potential buyers than traditional advertising. Shein's platform itself is engineered for maximum engagement and repeat visits. Frequent flash sales, exclusive app-only discounts, and countdown timers are just some of the tactics it employs to create a sense of urgency. While effective, these tactics have come under scrutiny. Regulators in the EU have found Shein's practices to be in violation of consumer protection laws, forcing Shein to comply or face hefty fines. This blend of influencer marketing, interactive app features, and UGC has established Shein as a dominant player in the digital retail space, successfully converting its online presence into brand credibility and repeat business. Shein's digital-first approach immerses it in online consumer behavior, enabling an extraordinary ability to quickly identify and capitalize on fashion trends. While traditional retailers often rely on seasonal forecasts and intuition, Shein continuously monitors a vast array of online consumer interactions. From trending Google searches and viral social media posts to engagement within its own platform, every view, like, add to cart becomes a data point. These inputs feed proprietary algorithms that identify emerging styles and popular designs almost as soon as they gain traction, often before many competitors are even aware of them. What makes Shein's trend detection especially powerful is its self-reinforcing loop. The insights gathered don't just inform future designs, they immediately influence ongoing production and promotions. Popular items are quickly amplified through the platform's recommendation engines and targeted social media marketing, generating even more data. In essence, every product launch functions as a live in-market test, and every customer interaction refines Shein's real-time production and merchandising strategy. However, this aggressive and rapid trend chasing has not been without significant controversy. Shein's model, prioritizing speed and product turnover, has led to widespread allegations and numerous legal challenges concerning intellectual property theft. Designers, independent artists, and established fashion brands have frequently accused Shein of systemically copying original designs without authorization, raising serious ethical and legal concerns about its hyperfast operation. Despite these controversies, Shein's real-time, data-driven approach provides a formidable advantage. While traditional brands must plan collections months in advance, Shein can turn a viral social media trend into a purchasable product within days, fundamentally reshaping how fast fashion supply chains operate. Identifying trends in real time is a powerful capability, but Shein's key operational advantage emerges when these digital insights are paired with its equally responsive manufacturing system. At its heart, retail success often hinges on mastering the balance of inventory management. Overproduce and you're stuck with unsold goods, leading to markdowns and storage costs. Underproduce and you miss sales opportunities, potentially ceding ground to competitors. Traditional fast fashion brands relied on placing bulk orders months in advance, creating significant risks of unsold inventory and wasted resources. Shein, however, chose a different path, an on-demand manufacturing model designed for its real-time retail strategy. Instead of committing to large production runs based on predictions of future customer demand, Shein commissions small initial batches of new items as low as 50 to 100 units. This allows them to test products directly in the market with minimal exposure. If an item resonates with consumers and sells well, production is rapidly scaled up. If not, it's discontinued, significantly reducing waste and the financial burden of unsold stock, giving Shein an edge in adaptability over its competition. The benefits of Shein's on-demand production aren't just theoretical. Smaller initial orders minimize overproduction, facilitate the rapid introduction of new styles, and support far wider diversity of products. For consumers, this translates into a consistently refreshed online catalog, with new designs appearing almost daily, a stark contrast to the seasonal updates of many competitors. Consequently, Shein's inventory turnover is exceptionally fast, with products cycling through its system in roughly 30 days compared to an industry average of 150 days. But this high-velocity model is not without trade-offs. The demand for frequent small batch production can place considerable strain on suppliers, particularly when operating on already tight margins. While Shein minimizes its own inventory risk, it shifts significant pressure onto its manufacturing partners who must respond with extreme speed, adjusting designs on short notice, and absorb the cost of small, unprofitable orders. In addition, the constant introduction of new products introduces complexities in maintaining consistent quality control, product standardization, and sustainable environmental practices. Shein's on-demand manufacturing system, with its emphasis on speed and flexibility, hinges entirely on a highly coordinated and deeply embedded supplier network, primarily concentrated in southern China. At the epicenter of this network is Guangzhou, one of the world's foremost textile manufacturing hubs. Instead of bearing the heavy capital costs of owning its own factories, Shein has cultivated strategic partnerships with a vast web of small and mid-sized manufacturers, located often within just a few hours of its sourcing headquarters in Guangzhou. But Shein's relationships with its suppliers goes far deeper than traditional contracting. The company has invested heavily in integrating these partners into its operations through a proprietary cloud factory platform, allowing Shein to assign small batch orders dynamically based on factory capacity and past performance, streamlining the entire production pipeline. Additionally, Shein offers its suppliers favorable terms, paying invoices faster than industry norms, subsidizing upfront costs like pattern development, and even helping fund facility upgrades for select partners. These strategic investments in its suppliers helps Shein secure priority production and fosters a network of loyal, highly responsive manufacturing partners. However, this highly integrated model has faced substantial criticism regarding exploitative labor practices. Reports from factories in Guangzhou have highlighted severe working conditions, including excessive hours and extremely low pay rates, prompting serious ethical concerns. Allegations of workers enduring 75-hour work weeks for rates equating to just cents per garment have triggered international scrutiny and consumer backlash. Without this deep network of suppliers, Shein's on-demand production simply would not be possible. The company's ability to rapidly test, iterate, and scale relies on factories willing to accept small initial orders, maintain flexibility, and pivot on short notice, capabilities not easily replicated elsewhere. However, this concentration in China introduces serious strategic risks. As US-China trade tensions have escalated, Shein finds itself increasingly exposed. Tariffs, tighter import controls, and geopolitical scrutiny threaten the cost advantages that Shein's model depends on. Unlike traditional fast fashion retailers, which ship bulk orders to regional warehouses and physical stores, Shein operates a predominantly direct-to-consumer model. Most items are produced, packaged, and shipped straight from Chinese warehouses to end consumers. This approach bypasses many of the intermediaries and associated costs that slow down and inflate traditional retail supply chains. The cornerstone of Shein's international shipping strategy, particularly for its largest market, the United States, was the de minimis rule. This trade regulation was originally intended to simplify the customs procedures for low-value shipments, reducing administrative overhead for goods deemed too insignificant to levy duties upon. For many years, the de minimis threshold remained modest. However, things changed when the Trade Facilitation and Trade Enforcement Act of 2015, signed under the Obama administration, increased the de minimis threshold from $200 to $800. The increase aimed to streamline trade and acknowledge the rise of global e-commerce. Since then, Shein has strategically built its logistics around this updated provision. By ensuring its vast number of individual orders stayed below this $800 threshold, the company largely bypassed the significant import duties and rigorous customs inspections that burdened traditional retailers importing goods in bulk. This system allowed Shein to offer a seemingly endless variety of dirt-cheap clothes to US consumers while maintaining a lean operational footprint compared to its competitors. But the $800 de minimis threshold soon became a flashpoint for criticism. Domestic US retailers and manufacturers argued vehemently that it created a substantial loophole, effectively tilting the playing field. They contended that it allowed foreign e-commerce giants, particularly from China, to flood the US market with tariff-free goods, placing American businesses that did pay import duties at a severe competitive disadvantage, and contributed to struggles across the domestic sector. Beyond the economic impact, concerns mounted over potential for illicit goods, like counterfeits and products made with forced labor, to evade thorough scrutiny due to the sheer volume of these small individually shipped packages. It was these escalating pressures that brought this once obscure trade provision back into the spotlight. For Shein, the de minimis rule had become a linchpin, critical for its business in the United States. Yet, this very linchpin had become a growing vulnerability. So far, we've discussed Shein's incredibly successful business model, its powerful real-time trend detection, its ultra-responsive on-demand manufacturing, the deeply integrated supplier network in China, and most critically, its logistics system masterfully built for the US de minimis trade exemption. This carefully constructed machine allowed Shein to deliver an endless stream of fast fashion at incredibly low cost, fueling its meteoric rise. But what happens when the very trade conditions that Shein expertly leveraged are now turning against it? As of May 2025, the landscape has been irrevocably altered, and these changes aren't just minor headwinds, they represent a direct assault to Shein's core economics. The early months of 2025 have unleashed a torrent of US trade policy shifts targeting Chinese imports, creating a volatile and deeply uncertain environment for companies like Shein. The Trump administration initiated a sweeping overhaul starting on Liberation Day in early April. This plan included not only a major crackdown on the de minimis provision for goods from China and Hong Kong, but also a range of other quote-unquote reciprocal tariffs. Shein, facing these ominous conditions, reportedly implemented significant price increases across its platform in April 2025, bracing for the surge of additional import costs. The previous duty-free status quo of de minimis was replaced by new tariffs of over 50%. Then, just days later, the Trump administration raised the Chinese tariffs further to over 120%. But those changes only lasted a few days, when the Trump admin lowered these new tariffs back down to 55%. In the subsequent weeks, the situation remained far from stable. The broader Liberation Day tariffs quickly became mired in legal battles, with the U.S. Court of International Trade striking down most of these quote-unquote reciprocal tariffs, finding that the trade law invoked by the president did not grant such unbound authority. However, the relief was short-lived. Literally overnight, a federal appeals court granted the Trump administration an emergency request to temporarily pause the lower court's ruling. This means those broader tariffs, once blocked, are now provisionally back in play, pending further court considerations that will stretch further into 2025. This dizzying sequence, a bedrock trade exemption eliminated, layered with a separate set of broader tariffs being imposed, then raised, then lowered, then legally blocked, then provisionally reinstated, all within days, paints a picture of extreme regulatory instability. For Shein, what was a predictable, advantageous environment has become a high-stakes gamble, with rules subject to change at a moment's notice. The immediate impact of a 55% tariff on goods formerly covered by de minimis is monumental. A $10 garment that once entered the US freely can now cost $15.50 or more. This fundamentally alters Shein's value proposition for its price-sensitive consumers. Beyond that, the termination of duty-free entry means a more formal customs processing, leading to delivery delays and increased administrative costs. Now, with this unstable trade environment, Shein faces a multi-front battle against rising costs and logistical headaches. Its streamlined direct-to-consumer model is under pressure. With its foundation under direct assault, Shein is forced to make critical decisions to navigate this treacherous new trade environment. The company is already signaling moves to protect itself, but each potential path carries its own set of risks and rewards. The first path is overhauling the supply chain through diversification and localization. The most immediate and significant challenge is Shein's heavy reliance on its hyper-efficient manufacturing hub in Guangzhou. With direct shipping from China to the US becoming more expensive, Shein has reportedly begun diversifying production to other countries like Vietnam, India, Brazil, and Mexico. The goal is to find a manufacturing base with more favorable trade terms with the US, potentially lowering the import costs. However, replicating the unique speed, scale, and flexibility of its established Chinese ecosystem is a monumental task. This shift risks blunting Shein's core competitive edge, its responsiveness, and could increase operational costs precisely when consumers are the most price sensitive. Another option is revamping logistics and shifting market focus. Beyond where products are made, how they reach customers may also change. Instead of primarily air freighting individual parcels direct from China, Shein may pivot to a more traditional logistics model for the US market. This could involve establishing larger US warehouses to import goods in bulk by boat, paying duties up front, and then fulfilling customer orders domestically. While this adds upfront costs and inventory holding risk, it simplifies customs clearance for individual orders and could restore some delivery speed. Simultaneously, as the US market becomes more challenging, Shein could strategically accelerate its growth and consolidate operations in other major regions, like Europe, Latin America, or other parts of Asia. Prioritizing markets with more stable, advantageous trade conditions could offer a crucial counterbalance to its US struggles. Another approach for Shein could be to just wait and see. A more conservative angle could be strategic patience through a wait-and-see approach. Given the erratic nature of US-China trade relations, policies rapidly shift due to political changes or new negotiations. Instead of committing to immediate costly overhauls of its entire system, Shein might choose to absorb some short-term financial pain, betting on a future relaxation or renegotiation of tariffs and trade rules. This could avert massive, potentially unnecessary investments if the trade winds shift again. Shein has already made initial pricing adjustments, reportedly increasing prices to absorb some of the anticipated tariff impacts. But longer-term financial maneuvering will be essential. This could involve further refining of its product mix to emphasize higher-margin items and employing more targeted discount strategies to retain its price-sensitive customers in a higher-cost environment. Ultimately, Shein's path forward will be a complex, balancing act between immediate survival and long-term sustainability. The company may rapidly adapt its manufacturing, logistics, and pricing strategies, potentially affecting its entire operation. The success of these adjustments will determine whether Shein can maintain its remarkable growth trajectory, or if these trade upheavals will indeed mark the end of its era of dominance. The seismic shifts in US trade policy and ensuing operational turmoil haven't just upended Shein's business model. They've cast a long, dark shadow over its highly anticipated IPO. Once anticipated for London, reports as of late May 2025 indicate Shein's IPO has hit significant roadblocks. The company is now said to be eyeing Hong Kong, after allegedly failing to secure approval from the Chinese regulators for its London debut. Investors who once marveled at Shein's explosive growth and disruptive power are now nervously reevaluating the company's prospects in this dramatically altered global landscape. At the forefront of their concerns is the fundamental question of sustainability. Shein's core ability to deliver ultra-low prices and rapid shipping, the twin engines of its success, are now compromised, directly threatening its profitability and market share, key metrics for any IPO candidate. Compounding this challenge is a dangerous catch-22 stemming from geopolitical pressures. Shein's crucial attempts to diversify its supply chain by shifting production out of China, a logical step to mitigate US tariffs, have reportedly been met with significant discouragement from the CCP. Reports indicate that Beijing, keen to maintain its domestic manufacturing prowess, has not given companies like Shein its blessing to relocate their supply chains. This leaves Shein trapped. US tariffs make Chinese production for the American market increasingly untenable. Yet moving production faces severe roadblocks from the Chinese. This tension raises serious doubts among investors about Shein's agility and capacity to adapt. Ultimately, Shein's IPO journey underscores the immense challenge it faces. The company is stuck needing international capital and legitimacy, navigating intense Western scrutiny over its practices, all while managing the expectations of Chinese authorities. This complex web of regulatory, ethical, and geopolitical pressures makes its path to a successful public offering, whatever it may be, increasingly fraught. For over a decade, Shein didn't just follow the fast fashion playbook, it aggressively rewrote it. By masterfully combining a digital-first mindset, hyper-responsive trend detection, on-demand manufacturing, and a logistics network of favorable trade loopholes, Shein achieved a scale and speed that left competitors stunned, truly embodying the new peak of fast fashion. But as we've seen, this colossus was built on a very specific set of global conditions: open markets, minimal trade friction, and crucial exemptions like de minimis that are now dramatically unraveling. The recent policy upheavals, the effective elimination of de minimis replaced by a significant 55% tariff, are not just operational headaches, they are existential threats to Shein's core value proposition of extreme affordability. The company is now at a strategic crossroads, grappling with a new reality that demands tough choices. Can it successfully re-engineer its vast, China-centric production? Can it overhaul its direct shipping logistics model? How will it navigate pricing in a world of suddenly higher costs? Or does it wait and see in hopes for less turbulent geopolitical waters? These decisions will not only dictate Shein's own future, including the viability of its potential IPO, but could also force a broader reckoning within the industry. Shein has established a new standard for fast fashion, where speed is the top priority and costs are stretched to a minimum. But that era of minimal costs and readily exploitable trade dynamics is now colliding with a new, more protectionist reality. The critical question is no longer just about Shein's ability to adapt. It's whether the ultra-low-cost, high-volume model it perfected can even survive in this new era of deglobalization. Will its innovative DNA allow it to engineer a new model for this more fractured world? Or will it become a high-profile casualty, a titan of a specific, more globalized moment in time, whose dominance couldn't withstand the changing tides of global trade? The Shein saga is rapidly evolving into more than just a business case study. As the company navigates these treacherous circumstances, one thing is becoming increasingly clear. The peak of ultra-fast, globally sourced fashion may be behind us. The rules of the game have changed, and the entire industry is waiting to see who this arena's winners and losers will be. So what do you think? Is Shein the future of fast fashion, or a cautionary tale? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the most interesting stories from the business world. Thanks for watching.